Nate Silver, I think it was Nate Silver, had this post-mortem. And he said when he was posting information on the elections, he got to basically do this experiment between his more conservative-leaning audience and his left-leaning audience and see how they responded to the news. Not necessarily his audience, but how the general population was responding, people who followed him. He said when he would put out stuff that somewhat agree with Republicans, they're excited. They're super happy. If you put out something that only somewhat agree with the Democrats, they lose their mind and they'd attack you over it.
Yeah.
So the Democrats are like 100% or nothing.
Yeah.
And he said that's why Trump won, because Trump said, I'll take whatever I can get. What happens? Trump goes to the Libertarian Convention. He got booed by libertarians and he got cheered at the same time and he got laughs. But these people at the Libertarian Convention were like, we don't like Trump. Trump's not our guy. And then Trump came out and said, I'm going to pardon Ross Ulbricht. And then they all started cheering. He said, I'll give you something. I'll give you anything.
Yeah.
And he ended up actually getting the Libertarians because they nominated Chase Oliver, who many people thought was too far left on social issues. And then you end up with Dave Smith, of all people. Dave Smith saying he voted for Donald Trump.
Right.
Sitting down with Joe Rogan.
I saw that.
When you get Joe Rogan, who's a Bernie supporter, and you get Dave Smith, anti-war, anti-Trump libertarian, both agreeing, well, he's our best bet, you have unified the country.
The other thing too is you had the left being like, why don't we have a Joe Rogan? And it's like, because you canceled Joe Rogan. That's why you don't have Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what the hell, you fools.
This is the thing that bothers me too is I donated the max to Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard. In the 2019 primaries, I was sitting here.
I liked Yang and Tulsi too.
Yeah, Yang was a disappointment. Tulsi's fantastic, but Tulsi had to join the Republicans.
Yeah.
So they're like, why can't we have the article from the Wired was, why can't we have a Ben Shapiro, a Steven Crowder, or so help us a Tim Pool? And I'm like,
you could have.
You did, and then you insulted me. You beat the crap out of me. Joe Rogan kept his mouth shut, and you still insulted him. Look, I came out right away in 2020 and said, I want Tulsi Gabbard. She's the candidate. Andrew Yang is also great. These are the candidates that I want. When they said no to that, I said, okay, well, Trump it is. I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. And they said, you're far right, screw you. And I said, I get it. I'm supporting Donald Trump. You don't like me. But Joe Rogan didn't do that. Joe Rogan the whole time said, I don't know. I don't want to help Trump. I don't want to be involved. And they still called him a Nazi. They still called him far right.
They still tried to take his livelihood away.
Yep.
Well, the problem is that the left never gets satisfied because they keep going left. Right.
Yeah,
so
they
someone
keep just going further.
Yeah. So like someone that's like a leftist now in 5 years is going to be considered far right because they're continuously shifting that window into more and more deranged lunacy. So that's the issue with them. And yeah, cancel culture is their main tool on the left. That's what they do. Like with Rogan, all these guys that they've tried.
Someone chatted, Tim didn't tell us about the max donation back then. Absolutely not true. I was talking about how Tulsi's mom called me thanking for the donation. I wanted the Democratic Party to pull back out of this tailspin, stop embracing racial segregation and other weird crackpot policies. And I said, why are they doing this? They're supposed to be like the funny, edgy, comedians like Jon Stewart calling out the stodgy Republicans. What's happening? Nope. The Republicans said, you know what? We were wrong about that. Let's all have fun and make jokes together. And I said, I'm down. What about you Democrats? And Democrats said, you're a Nazi, get out of my room. And I said, okay.
But, that's the thing, right? And that's what Phil was talking about is the Democrats in this election consistently lied about Trump, about who he is, about what he said, about what he stands for, misquoted him, did everything they possibly could to frame him a certain way. But after 2020, after the past 4 years, after COVID, I think the American people were just like, no, I'm not going to just believe you because you say things anymore. I'm going to do the work for myself. I'm going to understand it for myself. And so no one believed them when he said all of these things. It was like, it was Peter crying wolf. That's really what it seemed like.
What do you guys think about John Ratcliffe? So the other news from the Post-Millennial is that Trump has tapped former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe to lead the CIA. And I was actually much more excited for Kash Patel.
I agree with you on Kash Patel. I think you need to put him either with the CIA or maybe the head of the FBI. That'd be actually kind of funny.
I hope.
Given all the wars he had with the FBI. But but yeah, I mean, you need to put. I saw he wants to implement this like a 24-hour declassification room, which I think or agency or component.
What is that?
So basically, what it would be is like its documents continuously getting declassified. And I could say this is a guy that used to deal with classified documents. They classify stuff all the time for no fucking reason, man. Yeah. I'll be honest with you guys. Like, it's a lot of the times it's like, why is this classified? I'll never forget those piece of information one time I gave to the FBI on a target. And then I remember I was like on the phone with the guy and I said, hey, can you, what was it about that guy? Blah, blah. He's like, oh yeah, that's classified. I was like, dude, I gave it to you. How are you gonna tell me like what the fuck?
That's
like what
really
the hell?
funny.
But like the FBI is notorious for that. Like they'll get information and they'll classify it just because they don't want to share. So there's a huge problem with the classification of documents and how that's all handled. You know, we still haven't got the JFK documents. We still don't have all the 9/11 documents. So, well, we know why. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, there needs to be way more accountability and transparency when it comes to that.
Well,
That's what something Tucker Carlson was saying too, is that there's just too many classified documents. There's too many things that don't need to be classified.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. And like the fact that like the JFK documents aren't declassified after all these years, pretty much everyone is dead from that era. Like, declassify them.
Yeah, the fact that everything is classified is just because the government doesn't want to answer questions to the American people.
Yes, that's a big reason.
Because FOIA requests exist because you can request information. The only thing the government can do to keep the American people in the dark is to classify it. So they just classify everything.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.